So this is the setting I have when I do digital work for movies, studios, different illustration, book covers, that kind of thing. So I have 3 screens here. I have a Cintiq tablet that I use with a Cintiq pen. And so I use usually Photoshop. And then when I do 3D work, I use Blender.
In your digital work, when you start a piece, what is your mindset? Do you visualize the full piece or build it intuitively?
It's a little bit the same process for analog painting, but it really depends on what the studio is asking or the client is asking. Depends on like the sketches I work from. It really depends on how I start. And then from that, I get into just like the development of the idea. And the difference with 3D work is that I tend to, instead of just sketching maybe on paper, I tend to block in like the major shapes in 3D and put them in the camera angle that I want and then work from that.
What digital tools and brushes do you use?
I use a lot Photoshop. I have my own set of brushes. It's several sets actually. They all come from like different things. Like some of them I made myself, some of them I borrowed from somewhere else or I bought them. You have like entire sets of brushes sometimes that you can buy, and some of them are like from famous concept artists that they were selling or they were giving away. So I have lots and lots of brushes, but I tend to use only like a couple that I really like, especially like from Greg Rutowski. I really like his texture brushes, so I use that a lot. And yes, for 3D I use Blender. There's all kinds of plugins and add-ons you can put in Blender, but that's usually my settings.
How do you approach texture, light, and atmosphere in your digital work?
The technique I use, like the result I'm trying to get is the same as in analog painting, but the technique is different, obviously, because it's digital. So I use a lot of layers. The original sketch, for instance, for this building, I started with a sketch on paper. So it was very, very rough, just the basic idea of what I wanted to do. And then I moved into Photoshop sketch that I did from the pencil sketch, just to start tightening the idea a little more and like the structure of my building. From that, I generated a 3D environment, and I started to search for my angle, to make it match the original sketch. So finally, I found the right angle for my 3D model, and then I integrated that into a painting. And so in the painting, the final painting, you have all the layers. So all the layers that I used for the painting are there. And they're like, very similar to what I would use. I mean, in terms of like visual result, it's very similar to what I'm trying to do on a canvas, but you can completely separate all your levels. I use a lot of filters and masks. You see like how, like if I cover that, gives you a totally different feeling. Here, there's like all these masks that I can turn on and off. So I manipulate texture and lighting and all these different layers a lot. But at the bottom, below all the layers, there's like this 3D model that I originally created. See how many layers there are. I'm stripping away like all the layers right now to get to that model. So that was the base model that I used. And I just applied a very basic lighting in Blender before I threw it into Photoshop. And below that, I have a bunch of layers that are like pieces of like photos that I grabbed here and there. So I start like filling all the different empty areas with like either paint or regular photos, and then I start manipulating the colors, and I keep adding and adding and adding, and eventually I'm working towards something like a final image that I have in my mind that eventually will be the final result. But at that point, I don't know exactly. I have to keep exploring. It's not ready. You just push a button. It doesn't work that way. You just keep exploring, and then eventually, you know, at some point your colors are too dull, so you have to resaturate them. Composition is not exactly what you had in mind, so you see how like that layer just punched up the colors, the warmth, and then eventually when everything is finished, I put my logo in. That's the basic process.
How long did it take you to learn new softwares? I know you were against digital stuff in the beginning. How long did it take you to learn it, and did you find anything like easier to do in digital instead of doing traditional?
In terms of like how long, Photoshop was like over several years, because eventually when I went back into it, I just started to explore and I kept discovering new things. Depending on who you work with, you get a lot from other artists, the way they use Photoshop in their own work. So you start grabbing things, pieces of information here and there, and then you just keep applying them in your own work. So it took me, you know, several years to and I'm still learning in Photoshop, you know, because Photoshop is still developing. Blender was a little different because Photoshop branched into other things like After Effects, so I dabbled around with After Effects a little bit too. I learned Maya originally as a 3D tool, but I never used it, so I went back to what I was doing the most, which was this. But recently, a few years back, I realized that Blender was like an amazing 3D tool, so I stopped actually going to studios and I sat down and started to learn it on my own, just watching tutorials all day long and just like trying to replicate what I would see in tutorials and just learning. And then I started to produce things that I was happy with, that I could blend into regular Photoshop painting, or like do specific designs for like spaceships and vehicles and stuff like that. In terms of ease, the great thing about digital is that you have control over everything you do. You can separate everything you do into a process. I mean, you can separate that process from the rest or add on top. It's just like there's no limit. Whereas a canvas and a bucket of paint is just not the same. So there's no undo button, you know, when you work on a canvas. Everything has to be right from the start. I mean, you can paint on top if you make mistakes on a canvas, but it's not the same as working in digital, where, you know, you have the undo button that can help you resolve everything. So,
do you ever do photo bashing?
Oh yeah, that you know what I just showed there, that was partly photo bashing. It's like in digital, what I realized originally when I started to do digital, I was like, oh my gosh, they're cheating. Oh, they're photo bashing, that's cheating. And they're mixing all that stuff together, that's photo collage bashing. That's like, this is cheating, because a lot of these people, you know, didn't necessarily know how to paint or draw. I was like, oh, that's totally cheating. And then I started to learn it and to use it, and I was like, well, yeah, it is cheating, but at the same time, it's like you produce something entirely new. So it's like, okay, and it takes some skills eventually to really produce something that is believable, that is like looking like a real painting. It takes some completely different skills, but it takes some skills. So yes, there is photo bashing in that piece. There's lots of like the layers underneath. There were like pieces of photos that I merged together. But eventually, photo bashing is one thing. Doing good photo bashing is another, because eventually you want your piece to look like a real painting. It means that you need to paint on top of that. It means you need to understand how lighting works, how texture works, how atmospheric perspective works, how design works. It means you need to know, especially if you make a piece like this that is kind of a little more painterly. It's not like, you know, it's not like hyper realistic like this one. Where there, the photo bashing is definitely there. There's a bunch of 3D elements that I merged into this, but there's more photo bashing and it's more photorealistic. But this here is different. This is more painterly. You see the brush strokes. So yes, I integrate anything as long as it works.
It's more about animation editing. Because normally for, I don't want to say tradition editing, it's like we're cutting out stuff. But then when it comes to thinking about animation editing, we'll be more thinking about, do you guys plan the shot out first and then you just animate it up to the cut? Or you actually like animated the whole sequence first and then you come back to do cuts?
Oh no, it's actually, so everything is planned. So every scene, you know, every scene is separately animated. Usually they try to keep like the same people more or less animating the same sequence and group of scenes. So, but it's very, very planned. And sometimes you have entirely animated scenes that are either trimmed to to absurdity or completely taken out of the movie, just like for live action. So, but yes, everything is very, very planned. The closest thing to that would be visual effects, because that's also it's animation, but it's just for live action. I mean, we have visual effects in animation too, but yeah, editing. It's always like super planned. That's why the early aspect of editing, for story and storyboarding is crucial for a series or a movie, because that's where they limit the money damage, where they can actually decide, okay, this we're going to do that we want. But there's still a lot of, I wouldn't say waste, because this is part of the process, but there's still a lot of things that were decided up front and then eventually are abandoned as we go further into production.
What do you enjoy most about the process, and what is the most difficult part?
What I enjoy the most is usually there's two moments. The first part is when you finalize your idea as a sketch. The second part is seeing this coming alive as a full painting, as a full image. So those are like the two moments. They're part of the same global process, but each has its own rewards. And I would say maybe coming to flesh out the idea as a sketch, that can be difficult, because sometimes you have a very vague idea and you scribbled something on a piece of paper, but somehow you can't flesh it out visually completely the way you would want. So that can be a challenge. And then further down the road, when you try to really come up with the actual final visual, sometimes it's very easy, it comes very naturally, and sometimes it's actually you just there's something that is in your way and you don't know what it is, and you have to figure out what it is that is not working. And so you start reprocessing. But if you get into what we call noodling, start refining details that don't need to be refined, but in your mind you think, oh, that needs to be changed, and that's what the problem is, and it's not that, and then you're running in circles, and then that can take you into a very a nightmarish format. But overall, I don't get into those modes very often. Usually, at some point, there's something quite natural that happens and that moves you forward. So yeah.
Ready to explore media scenes with Creative World.
From cameras to editing, hosting, and beyond, let's level up your skills and carve a path to that dream job.
We are here to cheer on everyone pursuing with their entertainment dreams.
So drop us a message at the link below and let's ignite your media journey.
Audio's rolling.
All right.
Something about the weight that keeps me from moving forward. I always felt pressure on my back like granite, trying to hold me down, still holding me down. It's holding me down, it's holding me down. The line to withstand it. Drug the pain, keep climbing and stop. Kept running, I never threw the towel. Every step I'm pushing through the trial, no stopping. Keeping my pace in line. You can't control my mind. One mission I'm focused on, the climb, the retreat, I'm rising. Realign. Took the weight, but I won't derail. Kept my focus and I will prevail. I'm breaking through. I set the scale, I'll smash it. scheme. Face the fire, don't feed the heat. To the lows, but I found my speed and I built my power. And forward to take the lead. No backspace, no force to lead. It's a full charge and I face the feet. Locked in tight, I don't deplete. No freeze, no lag, I bring the heat. No quitting, I won't concede. Cut the down and I plant the seed. Turn the pressure, it's what I need. Gonna level up, cause I was born to exceed. Took the weight, but I won't derail. Kept my focus and it will prevail. Breaking through, I set the scale. Smash it, smash it, smash it, smash it. I said I'll smash it. I said I'll smash it. Smash it. Smash it. Oh, I'll smash it. Yeah.
家にあって安心。すぐに食べれていつでもおいしい家族の味方。昔も今もこれからも食卓を支える安心の味であり続けたい。白菊のさぬきやうどん。
From my memory, like, I think when he fights the guardian monsters, Baragon, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, he does switch between like a kind of almost like a punching closed fist and also like the open fist. So what do you think, Heisenberg, as you see more and more of him?
Yeah, I like these poses that you're making with him.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this figure. Like, I can't get enough of it. I mean, GMK is probably one of my favorite modern Godzilla designs. Having this figure is pretty awesome.
So we'll be able to see better when we compare it, but is he like around 6 inches or 7 inches?
This one's slightly smaller, but I think he's still maybe 6.5 or like slightly smaller than the 7-inch.
Yeah, because that's one thing I like a lot about the Hayas, the MonsterVerse Hayas, is that they're 7 inches.
Yeah, actually, what do you have the specs up in front of you? Because I don't have it in front of me.
No.
Yeah, but I feel like he's smaller, but he actually might not be. I have the 2014 is actually smaller, so I can't really use that one to compare. Yeah, because everything's kind of a mess right now. So hopefully, once everything's settled, I can.
So here's the monster art. He also looks a little blue on camera here.
Yeah, he has a little blue tint. I want to say, and you notice the paint on the claws and the feet. It's less white, but more of a gray color.
Yeah.
So it seems like they.
Well, we can't see the spikes right now.
Not yet.
The spikes also. Yeah, so this is one of my main gripes with the monster arts is that to me they always look like they're kind of like one uniform color.
Yes.
Which I find not as visually appealing.
For the GMK Godzilla, I think it's okay because he is pretty uniform in that movie. But we can see, like the teeth the painting of the teeth and the claws is a little dated. Like back then, this was great. It's still great now, but I think the painting skills have definitely gotten a lot better over the years. So, but the sculpt is still pretty decent, I'd say. I think again, Monster Arts, because of the art, their main focus is articulation. So you'll see a lot of gaps. But you do get more posability. so it's like a sacrifice.
Yeah. It's like I'm not seeing. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it does look. Sculpture looks pretty good. The sculpture and the articulation.
I followed a bird to the seashore, and I saw more in considered flight. They took to the sky in a sequence, like imprints of my toes in sand. They turned all as one and showed me how I can dream. Softly I heard as they circled, and go slowly, keep your hopes alight, and look to the brink of a sea change, and be certain as you take a hand, I moved with the sound of waves all around, in step with the moon.
Thank you for watching Creative World.
See you next week.
レストランオーナーの皆様、揚げ物の油代でお困りではありませんか？カロリーを抑えてもっと品質を良くしたいと思いませんか？そんな皆様に必見、世界初の特許技術、油の給油率を 50% から 80% 低減、水のように油を軽く、揚げ時間の削減、少ない油で美味しくヘルシーに。詳しくは bbflyglobal.com まで。